trigger control. Very simple concept, right? But extremely difficult to master. Definition of trigger control is breaking that shot without disturbing that muzzle, not letting that muzzle wiggle around that last critical second and going off where we don't want it to. I'm going to talk about trigger control and dovetail this into a bit of called diagnostics. All right. Generally, with a right-handed shooter, the common deficiency is the low left shot. I mean, probably a lot of people have experienced this. So if you look at a clock, right, if you're a right-handed shooter, they land about 9, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, right down that low left, okay? Now, we already talked about grip in the upper module on the bonus material, where if we isolate our trigger finger with a C-clamp grip, we're generally putting ourselves in a better position to have trigger control. That is to pull that trigger straight back without disturbing that muzzle, okay? So that helps out a lot. But let's talk about the cert and what it can do for you to teach trigger control. First thing I'd like to throw out there is, and this gets into the diagnostics of dots, not dashes. Because what we found, actually when I made the first cert, just for myself, for my own training, to get more high volume, the self-diagnostic training in, I found that I was hitting dashes, right? Making my own little laser show, so to speak. And it looks just something more like this. I'm turning the targets on, and you got this classic dash, right? Well, all right, so it kind of, so maybe it's hitting there initially the laser shot, but then it moves off. Is that a big deal? But guys, I'll tell you what I found in this experience. The people that do more dashes, as soon as you put time pressure on them, in any form, time pressure, their mechanics get even worse. And the amount they can miss by at even really close distances at really large acceptable accuracy zones is pretty astounding. Yeah, pretty astounding. So the better trigger control we have under slow conditions, the better glide path we are to do it under time pressure, okay? Because ultimately we want to have that skill. So the end result on that, my friends, is dots, not dashes. That's really the end cueing point, okay? So we just have our target up, it's just dot, 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 okay? That's our goal, that's our goal. Now, let's get into some instructional points in the classroom on how you can achieve those dots, not dashes. As you probably are maybe well aware, the CERT has a take-up laser. There's 2 lasers. The Pro model has a red take-up laser and the green shot indicating laser. The Performers have a red take-up laser and a red shot indicating laser, and a plastic slide, a little bit lighter. It's pretty common to, some people outfit everyone in Pros, or they outfit in Performers where the students have the red lasers and a plastic slide, a little bit lighter, and the instructor has a Pro model. Right, that's kind of the teacher edition model and such. So at any rate, either way, you pull a switch back and you have a shot indicating laser and the take-up laser. And what you want to do is tell people to go ahead and prep that trigger. Prep that trigger. So it's going to look something like this. And you can see it on the reference dot. I got sight alignment. I prep and see where that red laser comes on. Okay? The red laser is on. I tell them to break the shot and then reset. All right? So what would you look for on that? You're going to look for trigger mechanic deficiencies where you see something more like this. All right? Slapping the trigger, slapping the trigger. I know Rob Latham can slap the trigger. I know some studs out there can do it, or they say they do. Actually, I really think a lot of guys have very educated trigger finger where they do some prep and then they do some breaks. They just know how to push that right through. The challenge is your force curve changes. Like you're pressing and then it kind of stops, and then you got to put more pressure and then it breaks. And so it's one of those things that makes trigger control difficult for so many different types of pistols. So what the goal here is to get them to prep, pause, and then have that break. If you teach a surprise break, then it's just they're going to achieve that. Second module is after you have that break, the trigger comes forward, there's a distinct click sound, and there's a reset. All right? Generally speaking, we want to teach students to shoot multiple shots. We want to teach students to have the ability to shoot multiple shots in succession, which means to minimize wasted movement. It breaks, it resets, and we re-prep. We get back on there ready to shoot again. We already sent one round. We want to be just queued up to send that next round on demand. So it looks like this. We have a prep, a break, a reset, and then a reprep. See how that red stays on down there, my friends? See that red's going to stay on there. And if it stays on, we know we are reprepped and we're ready to send that next shot. Okay? Common deficiency is when you see the prep, break, they stop. They come all the way off the trigger. All right? Well, it's, they don't even come off the trigger properly. They just come forward still in the trigger guard, right? So that they're not even getting on high slide. Okay? So best practice is break, reset, and reprep. Get right on that. Get right on that. Okay. Third block of instruction is to get away from pinning the trigger, holding it all the way back. So you break and you get back up and you reset as quickly as possible. Right. Now you may instruct pinning the trigger for full follow through, and that's a good phase. But ultimately, we want to break through that phase of pinning the trigger, that is holding that trigger back and getting back to the reset. So let me demo on that. Let me demo. So we have prep, break, and then we're right back. So we're basically, this is the end goal. We're not pinning the trigger. The bullet's gone at that point. It's gone. And then we take forever to reset and reprep. No, we break and boom, we're right there. We break, we boom, we're right there. So again, we're getting that nice, clean little dot and not the dash. All right? Good. So some variations to this drill. If you have a good grip, the students have a tight grip, vice-like grip, well, that's obviously going to help the dots, not dashes, because that grip, the strength of a good grip, is going to mask any trigger control deficiencies, which is fine. We want to have a good grip, but we also want to have excellent trigger control. So how do we train this? How do we test it? How do we give the students some ideas on how to improve their trigger control? Well, one-hand shooting. Good old bullseye shooting, right? Strong hand shooting. So what we can do is just say, okay, everyone, let's just go strong hand only. And also you can tell if they get tired to use their support hand or their second strong hand. So they're left hand for most people, right? So most people are right-handed. So then you go strong hand only, friends. You go strong hand only. And, it's a bit harder. Like, look, I'm a little bit, this is very close. And you can see there's a lot of movement there. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but, it's, strong hand only. And support hand, I swear there's something about using support hand, because when we use support hand, I swear to God, there is something that makes our strong hand more effective. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the theory is or what have you, but a lot of support hand only shooting makes our strong hand all that more capable. So that's just a bonus tip. So anyhow, my friends, that is a little block on trigger control. This dovetails into the next subject I want to introduce on diagnostics. So I strongly suggest taking a look on the diagnostic session, because you can understand so much more about a shooter and their deficiencies and how to help them with the right cueing points when we have the right tools to understand what the source of those deficiencies are.